Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. The last chance qualifiers are going on around the world. The Americas one is reaching its conclusion and lots of questions around what Sentinels might decide to do next season. Sinatraa and Ye have both given their perspectives on what Sentinels roster might well look like. Sinatraa expects both of the Brazilians to probably be leaving the roster and going back to a Brazilian team. Will this happen? Will TenZ even be there, especially given the fact that his contract though is apparently at an end? Very much intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. Plenty to get into. First of all, this from Valor Leaks. Another agent is coming through. Now, it's difficult to say, as Mike says in the replies, whether this is actually a new agent, whether this is like a scrapped agent that is still being in the game somehow. So we'll see, but it feels only a second ago that the most recent agent got released, and now there's maybe another one coming around. So I don't expect to get anything massive, but who knows, right? Around Champions, they usually try and release these agents around the big events, and Champions is a little while away, so maybe they've got something planned, or there's going to be a new map that arrives before the next new agent, so I guess we'll see about that one. Also though, the EMEA LCQ is underway. Heretics played KOI last night, and they go down 2-1. This of course was Benji Fishy's debut with the team. They brought him in after all the drama with Heretics this season with Zeke and all this. They bring him in, they do go down. I think it was an impressive map too actually here from Benji. 13-10 on the Pearl. Had a pretty rough haven though to close out the series, but KOI were probably marginally favoured in this one to be fair, and they get the job done 2-1. So we'll see what this roster looks like next year, but Benji Fishy comes in for one game. Definitely held his own, so maybe there's going to be more of that continuing as well. The other match that went down was BBL versus Karmine Corp, and these were both knockout games, so the loser's already out of the tournament. But this game, fair play to KC, they won it, but wow, this team, like, watching some of these rounds, you could genuinely excuse people for thinking they were match fixing, because I'll show you one in a second, which is just, I can't believe this actually happens. But anyway, eventually, KC get over the line. Great series from both Navera and Scream. Game 1 was 14-12 to BBL on Haven after an overtime, but then it was 13-9, and then 14-12 the other way. I don't know how KC threw this, and fair play to them actually regaining and winning the overtime, because I think a lot of people thought that when this went from 12-7 to 12-12 in the manner that it did, that KC were not going to be able to find the way to win the 2 rounds at overtime, but they did. But this was the round in question, right? I still can't believe this actually happens. This is the most standard KC round you're ever going to see. So they're 12-10 up here. It's a 1 versus 4 for Turco. Here he is on the site. They know where he is. He's already a little bit tagged up. Okay, no, actually he has full health still, but it shouldn't really matter. So the first one comes around the corner, and for some reason, they just keep swinging. They're like, you know what? I'm going to trade this out. So they decide for some inexplicable reason that the second guy's going to come around the corner, die. Third guy around the corner, die. Fourth guy around the corner. I mean, like, I'm just going to have to play that again for you guys here. I mean, fair play to Turco getting this. And he also aced the next round. But honestly, what is this? Like, I've seen better players in silver and gold than you see here from Karmine Corp. I mean, what are they doing, man? Absolutely embarrassing, to be honest. And then Turco gets the ace in the next round to send it to overtime, and still KC win. So I mean, yeah, KC at their finest, but fair play, they actually won a series, so well done, and they advance in the tournament. BBL go out. KC will go on to play Giant in the next round, and KOI will play Na'Vi, and let's not forget 2 of these teams qualify, right, because Fnatic won Masters Tokyo, and therefore there are 2 teams that make it rather than just 1. This is what's going on in the Apex side. We saw yesterday that Talon took down Detonation, then Gen.G eliminated Talon, Global Esports got eliminated by RRQ. Now it's again double elimination, so 2 of these, well, 1 of these 4 teams make it, but there's at least 2 chances for the teams if you were to lose in the upper semi-finals that are going on this morning between Zeta, RRQ, Secret and Gen.G respectively. But this was the Americas LCQ that has concluded for a couple of days now before it resumes in 2 days time with Cloud9 Leviathan and then Crew await in the grand finals, as remarkable as that sounds. So Sentinels went out top 4, and given the way this bracket has gone with Crew making a run and everything, like, you would have thought the Sentinels could have done better than this, especially given how, you know, gassed up they were before the tournament began and how good they apparently thought they were going to be. TenZ gives some thoughts on this as well in an interview and says that the season was very hectic, he's a bit sad by it, but life moves on. So where's he going to go next? Because our understanding is, as there was the case last season, that his contract with Sentinels was at an end. Certainly that was the case going into franchising, because it was all possible last off-season, and lots of things remain possible this year, but I believe he only got a 1-year contract here, with Sentinels for this season, which definitely means that changes even for and with TenZ could be on the cards. His comments were, the season was pretty hectic, considering the fact that we had a lot of issues early on at the creation of the team, like midway through the season, and then finally we were able to settle into this point with Marv coming in. We probably played our best and performed our best with the roster that we currently have, which I think is probably fair enough, but it still wasn't enough at the end of the day. They said they were doing, 6 days of VOD review a week. I'm sure there were glimpses of brilliance, times that we were just flying and playing to our best, at other times might have been looked like we're tossing some rounds. Comms got a bit overheated, took a misstep, unfortunate things happens. I do wonder what they're going to decide to do with their roster going forwards, whether Marv does stay on, whether they bring in another IGL that isn't Dephh. I imagine they're not going to go back to that approach going forward. I mean, he's now the coach for M80's Counter-Strike team, so that's not going to be happening. And I do see some people saying, oh no, they should just stick it out, they'll get better with time and all this, but the chances of that happening, given the way that these teams operate and the way that even players think and operate, is probably 0.1% of this team actually being the same next season. It's incredibly doubtful. They had plenty of issues, they couldn't get them resolved, and there's probably various reasons why some players want to go a different way. So they might think about it, but I don't imagine that'll be the case. They probably will want to make some changes. Sentinels will want to make some changes. Ye also says that probably they're going to have to consider some things, and Sinatraa even says straight up during that final map of the series that Sacy Pancada, world champions, reigning world champions, let's not forget, probably will be making their way out of this team at some point.
I wonder what the roster send is going to be if they lose this next year. It's not going to even be close to this roster, that's for sure. Right?
What? Just peek.
Surely it's the last match for Sacy and Pancada, right? That's certain.
Probably. Unless they win.
GG!
I mean, they can make history here. Make the comeback and win the whole team. Jesus.
It's impossible.
Nothing is impossible.
Impossible.
As long as you don't lose hope, anything is possible. Look.
Alright, I'm looking.
Alright, it's a 2v3, bro. And do you see who's alive? Thanks to TenZ, bro. He's a star.
I thought he was broad.
Wait, look.
And that is Sacy's and Pancada's last day as a Sentinel.
What?
Unlucky. What will be the new roster? Find out next year. In 300 days.
It will be songs. They need songs, bro.
Fuck, Marv is living a dream, bro. He probably signed like a 30K contract and now he just gets to fucking do legit nothing for the next 6 months and get paid 30K a month doing nothing. Legendary status.
I don't think we're gonna see Pancada on TenZ roster. There's a chance maybe like the Brazilians go back to Brazil. Cause I know like American culture and like America and Brazilian culture is like a lot different. I'm sure they probably like miss their family as a cold punch too. Probably pretty hard on them. So there might be a chance for that, but they also might stay, who knows.
So there's been lots of questions about what they should do, whether they look at a couple of the guys from the M80 team that failed to qualify for, through Ascension to get to the regular franchise league. Maybe there's a couple of options there. There's other candidates in play. But, I think in theory, you definitely keep Zekken. No brainer on that one. I would say you keep Marv. TenZ will have some questions to answer, not because he played bad or anything, like to the team, I think he did a good job, but whether he actually wants to be on Sentinels any longer, because TenZ has such a massive brand that he could go to any team and be a massive boost for them. Sentinels and TenZ kind of go hand in hand for the last couple of years, but that's not necessarily the case forever. His contract is at an end according to the global contract database, and therefore he will be free to choose any offer that he prefers. Let's say Cloud9 come in and they want TenZ back. Maybe they could do it. Let's say any other team like an NRG or something or other, who knows, would want him to join, then he could take an offer from those teams. It's probably still more likely than not that he stays on Sentinels and they give him a new offer and he accepts it, but it's not guaranteed. So we've got to look at that one as well, and we also discussed the possibility possibility of him maybe even stepping away if he wants to for, you know, if Kaide and himself would decide to do that for personal reasons, that's an option as well. So yeah, big questions to be raised on that one, but I thought Sinatra's perspective was pretty interesting that he reckons, yeah, the Brazilians are going to be gone. It was the same thing that FNS said a while ago, and I think it's possible. Now, look, they would still probably join another Brazilian team and be playing out of Los Angeles in the same situation they're currently in, but there might be a better team environment for both parties if that was to be the case. And their current roster, from a role perspective, doesn't really make that much sense. I mean, there's no real Sentinel player there, with, you know, Pancada kind of had to do it sometimes, but mainly he was on the controller. There's no real IGL there either. Like, their current roster was a bit of a mixed bag, but they were forced people into roles that they didn't really feel super comfortable playing. So I just don't imagine it's going to continue. They've got like 2 duelists effectively, which can work in zyppan and TenZ. They can make things work around different roles there, as they have done to reasonable success. But it's still not guaranteed that that's going to be a successful formula next season, when more than likely changes will have happened. So very much enjoyed to hear your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.